Ladies and gentlemen, nothing can stop God's plan for you, no matter what challenges you face. Always remember this. No force on earth can stop what God has planned for you. Each of us has a purpose, a divine plan set out even before we were born. You might face problems, setbacks, and storms that make you doubt, but let me remind you, nothing can stop God's plan. Not your circumstances, not your mistakes, not even your fears. God's plan cannot be stopped. And when you follow it, amazing things will happen. Mountains will happen. Mountains will move and doors will open. So if you've ever wondered if you're on the right path or if your dreams can still come true, know that God is working in ways you can't always see. When you walk in faith, even when the road is hard, remember that God's plan will always succeed. Once He sets something in motion, nothing can stop it. All you need to do is trust and keep moving forward. God's plan is bigger than any setback. Sometimes when life knocks you down, it feels like you've gone off track, like your destiny is ruined. But those setbacks aren't the end. They're steps forward. Every failure, every disappointment is God's way of pushing you closer to your purpose. Failure doesn't mean you're done. It means you're being redirected. You may not see it at the time, but that failure might be what leads to your next big opportunity. God uses what feels like a dead end to create a new beginning. The things that seem to break you will actually make you stronger. Disappointments aren't delays, they're detours. They may feel like you're off course, but God's plan is never late. Every detour is part of His path for you. It's in these hard moments that you grow, that your character is shaped, and your faith is tested. Even in what seems like failure, God's plan has a purpose. When things don't go your way, it's easy to feel defeated, but remember, those tough moments are meant to build your strength. God is using them to prepare you for something bigger than you can imagine. Every setback is really a setup for something greater. You might see failure, but God sees your future. That sees your future. That setback is setting you up for a breakthrough that wouldn't have happened without the struggle. It's all part of the bigger picture only He can see. What looks like rejection is often God's way of redirecting you. When something doesn't work out as you hoped, don't lose faith. That closed door is just God leading you to the door that's meant for you. His plan is always working, even when it seems like nothing is going right. Don't let disappointment stop you. Let it push you forward. Each time you get knocked down, God is teaching you how to get back up. Every failure is a lesson in perseverance, reminding you that you're being prepared for what's ahead. Keep moving forward because every step, even the difficult ones, brings you closer to your destiny. God's timing is perfect, even when it feels delayed. God can use what you think is lost time to achieve more than you ever imagined. He's never too early or too late. Even in disappointment, God's plan stands firm. The things that feel like setbacks are just chapters in your story. God knows the ending and He knows that your pain is not wasted. Your setbacks are not defeats. They're divine reroutes. Every fall, every struggle is part of God's plan to guide you toward a higher purpose. He uses your obstacles to push you forward, helping you become the person He created you to be. Remember, obstacles are not the end. When you hit a wall, it's not a sign to turn back. It's a challenge to rise higher. That wall was placed there to test your determination, to push you to a level you wouldn't have reached without it. Every barrier is an opportunity to prove just how badly you want what's on the other side. Walls are meant to be climbed, not feared. Too often, we see obstacles as stop signs when in fact they're stepping stones. They exist to stretch your abilities, to make you dig deeper and find the strength you didn't know you had. The climb isn't meant to be easy. It's meant to transform you. Obstacles reveal your strength. You may think they're there to stop you, but they're actually there to show you how powerful you truly are. Each time you face a challenge, it forces you to grow, to adapt, and to strengthen your resolve. What once seemed impossible becomes the very thing that makes you unstoppable. They exist to elevate you. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you're not just moving forward, you're becoming stronger. God uses these moments to build your resilience, to prepare you for the even greater challenges that lie ahead. Obstacles demand action. They force you to confront your fears and make a decision. Will you retreat or will you push through? It's in those moments that your character is built. The obstacles aren't there to block your path. They're there to push you beyond your limits. Each wall you face is a lesson. Every obstacle teaches you something new about yourself, about your capabilities, and about the journey you're on, the struggle to climb. Those walls is where wisdom is gained. You learn what works, what doesn't. No matter what obstacles aren't there to stop your progress. They're there to refine it. Each barrier forces you to reevaluate, to strategize, and to find a new way forward. Is through overcoming these challenges that you learn perseverance and gain the tools you'll need for the future. When you stand before an obstacle, it's not just about overcoming what's in front of you. It's about seeing beyond it. The wall forces you to focus on what's ahead, reminding you that the journey doesn't end here. The vision of what's possible becomes clearer with every climb. The higher the wall, the greater the sense of accomplishment when you scale it. Each challenge you overcome adds to the story of your resilience. When you look back, you'll realize that the walls weren't there to defeat you. They were there to define you. Obstacles build the strength you'll need for what's coming next. Every challenge prepares you for the road ahead, equipping you with the mental, emotional, and spiritual strength required for the next level of your journey. What you face now is laying the foundation for the future God has planned for you. Your timing and God's timing are not the same. We often want things to happen instantly, but God's plan doesn't work on our schedule. What may seem like a delay is actually part of a bigger process, a process we may not understand yet. His timing is perfect, even when it feels like nothing is happening. What looks like a delay is often divine preparation. You may feel stuck, wondering why your breakthrough hasn't come, but in that waiting period, God is preparing you for what's next. He's shaping you, growing you, and equipping you with everything you'll need to handle the blessings He's got in store. Patience and waiting doesn't mean passiveness as active faith. It's trusting that every moment of waiting has a purpose, even if you can't see it right now. God uses the wait to build your faith, to teach you trust, and to show you that His plan is always better than anything you could have rushed into. What you call a delay, God calls development. He knows the path ahead and understands that you're not just waiting, you're being prepared. God bless you. Every season of waiting is a time of growth. And the longer you wait, the greater the purpose He has for what's coming. His perfect timing protects you from what you're not ready for. Sometimes God delays things to shield you from battles you aren't yet equipped to fight. What feels like a delay is actually His way of ensuring that you'll be ready to stand firm. When the time comes, waiting teaches patience, but it also teaches trust. In those moments when you feel like you're standing still, God is asking you to trust that He's still working. His plan is unfolding behind the scenes, even when you can't see it. The wait is part of the journey, not a detour from it. God's timing brings peace, even in uncertainty. When you stop striving to make things happen in your own time and start trusting that His timing is perfect, you'll find peace in the process. You'll realize that God sees the bigger picture and His timing is always for your benefit. A delay is not a denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not part of God's plan. He might be withholding something now because He knows there's a better moment for it later. When it's time, He will open doors no one can shut. What seems like waiting is really alignment. God is aligning everything in your life so that when the time is right, everything will fall into place perfectly. You may not see it now, but the delay is allowing things to align in ways that will make your path forward even smoother, trusting His time and shows your faith in His plan. When you trust that God's timing is better than your own, you're showing faith in His wisdom, His love, and His power to guide your life. His timing is always perfect because He knows what's ahead and He's preparing you for it. No one can take what God has promised you. No force on earth can alter it, and no person can steal it from you. It's not up for grabs or competition. What's meant for you is set aside by divine purpose, and no one can interfere with that. People may try to block you, but they can't stop God's hand. They might put obstacles in your way or attempt to discourage you, but their efforts are powerless against God's plan. Even when others work against you, God is still working for you. What He has promised will find you no matter the opposition. God's promise doesn't rely on people's approval. Sometimes you'll find yourself surrounded by doubters, naysayers, or even enemies, but their opinions don't matter. God's word is greater than anyone's judgment or attempt to sabotage your path. His promise stands firm, regardless of who tries to get in your way. When God speaks a blessing over your life, is already yours. It's not about whether or not it will come to pass. It's simply a matter of time. That blessing is already in motion, waiting for the perfect moment to manifest. No delay. No person, no situation can cancel what God has declared. Others may try to take credit for your success, but the glory belongs to God. When the promise is fulfilled, it will be clear that it was His hand guiding you the whole way. No one will be able to claim your victory because it was divinely ordained, not humanly manufactured. You are walking in divine favor, and no one can take that from you. The blessings that are on their way to you are part of a greater plan that can't be altered by human hands. What God has promised is bound to reach you because His promises never return void. What's yours is yours, even if it hasn't arrived yet. Sometimes it feels like the promise is far off. But remember, delay does not mean denial. The blessing is already assigned to you. And when the time is right, it will show up. God's promises are patient, but they are always fulfilled. Even if others try to block your progress, God uses their resistance to strengthen your path. What they intend to harm you only becomes a tool in God's hands to mold you into the person you need to be. The harder they push against you, the stronger you become in preparation for the promise. When you face opposition, remember that God's promise is unshakable. People may try to change the course, but they can't reroute what God has set in motion. Their attempts to hold you back only propel you further into His will. The promise remains yours, untouched and unchallenged. God's timing and plan are perfect. And when the moment arrives, no one can stop it. Your blessing is waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The opposition you face only highlights the greatness of the promise you are about to receive. No matter what comes against you, that promise is already written in God's book for your life. Your faith activates God's plan. It's not enough to simply believe in His promises. You've got to act on that belief. Faith without action is stagnant, but when you step out in faith, you set God's plan into motion. It's in those moments of boldness that God begins to reveal the path He has prepared for you. When you step out in faith, even when you don't know the outcome, you're stepping into God's purpose. It takes courage to move forward without all the answers, but that's where faith shines brightest. You're not relying on your own understanding. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where God wants to take you. Each step you take in faith moves you closer to the destiny He has designed for you. The outcome may be uncertain in your eyes, but to God, it's already been planned. Every step you take is aligned with His divine purpose. God rewards faith with favor. When you trust Him enough to move forward, even in uncertainty, He honors that faith with blessings. You couldn't have imagined faith opens doors that fear would have kept shut. God sees your boldness and He responds by releasing favor in ways you never saw coming. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. It's in those moments of uncertainty that your faith is truly tested. When you choose to trust God, despite not knowing the outcome, you're declaring that His plan is greater than your fear, and He rewards that trust. God's plan is activated when you take the first step. He's waiting for you to move, to show Him that you believe in His power and His promise. The moment you act in faith, you align yourself with His will, and that's when His plan starts unfolding. It's your faith that triggers His favor. Stepping out in faith transforms your fear into fuel. The unknown no longer holds you back because you're no longer relying on your own strength. You're leaning into God's power, knowing that He won't let you fall. Faith shifts your focus from the obstacles to the opportunities God is placing before you. Faith turns uncertainty into confidence. It's not confidence in yourself, but in God's ability to lead you through the unknown. Every step you take, no matter how small, shows God that you trust Him with the outcome. That trust moves mountains, clears paths, and brings you closer to His plan. When you move in faith, you invite God to move in your life. He sees your trust, and He honors it by orchestrating events that work in your favor. What might seem impossible in human terms becomes possible because your faith opens the door to divine intervention. Faith activates favor, and favor accelerates God's plan. When you step out in faith, you're not just walking blindly. You're walking into the favor that God has already prepared for you. Your boldness sets the wheels of His plan in motion. And with every step, you draw closer to the fulfillment of His promise. Storms come to strengthen, not to stop. The storm isn't your end, it's your preparation. The challenges you face aren't meant to defeat you. They are there to equip you for the blessings that are on the way. Every difficult moment, every struggle is a part of the process. These storms are shaping you into the person you need to be to handle the greatness that's coming. Endure the storm because it's temporary. No matter how intense it feels, no storm lasts forever. The struggle might feel endless while you're in it, but the storm is always moving, pushing you towards something greater. It's in the enduring that you gain strength and clarity. The storm isn't there to block your blessing. The more you weather the storm, the more quick you become to handle the blessings that follow. It's in the fight, the perseverance, that you develop the strength to carry what's coming your way. Storms force you to grow in ways you didn't expect. They push you out of your comfort zone and make you dig deep to find strength you didn't know you had. You emerge from the storm more capable, more prepared for the road ahead. The storm is part of your transformation. The storm prepares you for the sun that's coming after every dark moment. Light follows the rain, and winds are making room for the blessings that are about to pour down in your life. The challenges don't stop the sun. They make its arrival even more powerful. When the storm hits, remember it's part of the journey. You're not meant to avoid the storm, but to go through it, to face it head on. Each storm clears the way for something new, something knitter, something you wouldn't have been ready for without the trial. The stronger the storm, the greater the growth is. During the most intense battles, that you gain the most intense battles, that you gain the most strength. The harder the storm pushes, the stronger your foundation becomes. You're being built up layer by layer into someone who can withstand anything that comes your way. Storms reveal your true character. When everything seems to be falling apart, that's when your inner strength shines through. You discover what you're really made of when you face the storm. The sun is always on the other side of the storm, no matter how dark it gets. There's always light waiting for you. Once you've weathered the challenge, the storm isn't your destination. It's just part of the journey toward the blessing that's already on its way. God's plan is not limited by your understanding. Often we try to make sense of everything, thinking that if we can't see the full picture, something must be wrong. But God's plan stretches far beyond what we can comprehend. He's working behind the scenes in ways we can't even imagine. What seems like confusion to us is clarity to Him. Sometimes it's easy to feel lost when we can't see how everything fits together. But God doesn't need you to figure it all out. He's already done that. Your job is to trust, to let go of the need for control, and to have faith that He's guiding you exactly where you need to go. His ways are higher than ours. What looks like a detour or setback in your eyes is often God's way of rerouting you to something better. Our perspective is limited, but God sees the beginning and the end. He knows what we need and when we need it, even when we don't understand why things happen the way they do. Sometimes faith means walking blindly. You won't always have a clear view of what's ahead, and that's okay. Faith is stepping out, even when you don't know what's next, trusting that God will catch you. It's moving forward when all you have is His promise, believing that He's already paved the way. Trusting God doesn't require full understanding. If you knew every step, it wouldn't be faith. It would be certainty. Faith is leaning into the unknown, trusting in the one who holds the future. It's about being okay with not knowing because you're securing the knowledge that God does. When you can't see the plan, trust the planner. God's ways are often mysterious, and it's in those moments of uncertainty that your faith grows the most. You're not called to understand every detail. You're called to trust the one who sees the whole picture. He's already worked out what you can't see. God's wisdom surpasses our comprehension. What might seem like a delay or a setback is often God's way of protecting or preparing you for something greater. He operates on a higher level beyond human reasoning, and that's why faith is crucial. You don't need to see the plan to know that it's perfect. Faith is about trusting that God knows best. Even when the path seems unclear, God's plan is always good. He has a purpose for every twist and turn, and His timing is always right. When you lean into that trust, you realize that understanding every detail isn't necessary for walking in faith. You're not meant to understand everything in the moment. Sometimes it's only in hindsight that we see how all the pieces fit together. God's plan often unfolds slowly. And while you may not grasp it now, trust that one day it will all make sense. He's preparing you for something you can't yet see. Faith isn't about knowing the path. It's about trusting the destination. God's plan is always greater than anything you could envision for yourself. His higher ways are leading you toward a future that's beyond your wildest dreams. You don't need to understand every stand. You just need to keep walking in faith. Your past doesn't disqualify you. The mistakes you've made, the regrets you carry, none of it is too big for God's plan. He sees beyond the surface, beyond your flaws, and knows the potential He placed inside of you. No misstep can cancel the destiny God has for your life. Whatever mistakes you've made, they don't define you. You are not bound by the errors of yesterday. God's grace wipes away the stains of the past, and His plan isn't dependent on your perfection. In fact, He often uses the broken pieces of your past to build something even greater. God's plan is bigger than your failure. While you may think your past disqualifies you, God is using even those moments to prepare you for something extraordinary. Your missteps aren't the end of your story. They're chapters that lead to your growth and transformation. His grace is greater than any wrong turn you've made. God doesn't look at you through the lens of your past mistakes. He looks at you through the lens of His mercy and love. His grace is a force that transforms, heals, and restores. No matter how far off course you may have gone, God can use even your past to shape your future. Every failure, every misstep can be turned into a lesson, a stepping stone to something better. God redeems your past by giving it purpose, using it to mold you into the person He's calling you to be. What seemed like a setback becomes a setup for your success. Your story, with all its imperfection, is still part of God's perfect plan. He doesn't discard people based on their past. Instead, He takes what was broken and makes it whole. Every wrong choice, every regret is woven into the fabric of your purpose, refining you for what's next. God's plan doesn't hinge on your past, but on His promise. He already accounted for every mistake you would make, and His purpose for your life remains unshaken. Your past may have been messy, but God is a master at turning messes into messages. He uses it all to shape the future. He has planned for you. What you see as a failure, God sees as part of your development. He knows how to take the worst parts of your story and turn them into something beautiful. Nothing you've done can stop God from using you for His glory. In His hands, even your darkest moments can be transformed into light. Your past is not a prison, it's a platform. God can take the very things that once held you back and use them to propel you forward. The experiences that cause you pain can become the foundation for your purpose, showing others the power of grace and redemption. God's grace rewrites your story. No matter where you've been or what you've done, His plan for you is still intact. He's not finished with you yet. Every scar, every failure is being used to mold you into the person He's called you to be. Your past doesn't disqualify you. It equips you for the future He has in store. When doors close, is God's protection. Life is full of moments where we feel rejected or sidelined, but it's crucial to understand that not every closed door is a loss. Often, it's God stepping in, redirecting your path away from something that wasn't meant for you. Trust that these closures are part of a divine plan to keep you safe and aligned with your true purpose. Rejection isn't failure. It can feel like a setback, but it's often just God's way of guiding you towards something better. The feelings of disappointment may linger, but remember that every no is a step closer to the yes that truly aligns with God's plan for your life. It's an opportunity to reassess and refocus your energy on what really matters. Sometimes it's God saying, I have something better in mind. When you're faced with rejection, it's easy to get stuck in your own understanding. But God sees the bigger picture, which you desire may not be what's best for you in the long run. His plan is always greater than your dreams, and He is faithful in delivering something that will exceed your expectations. Trust the doors He closes and the ones He opens. Life is a journey of navigating through opportunities, and not all of them are meant for you. Closed doors are not meant to hurt you. They are meant to protect and prepare you. Trust that God is strategically guiding you toward the path that will lead to your fulfillment. Every closed door is a chance for redirection. When one opportunity vanishes, another is often waiting in the wings. God's timing is perfect, and His ways are higher than ours. Trust that He's moving you into a space that will reveal your true potential. This is the moment to embrace the unknown and lean into your faith. Closed doors often lead to open windows. The disappointment of rejection can be the catalyst for discovering new opportunities. Instead of dwelling on what you've lost, shift your perspective to what lies ahead. Those open windows may lead you to places you never imagined, filled with possibilities that align with your purpose. Sometimes the door closing is simply a protective measure. God knows the dangers that lie ahead. Even when we can't see them, He's watching over you, orchestrating your life with care and precision. Trust that His guidance is for your ultimate good, and those closed doors are a blessing in disguise. The journey often requires patience. God's plan unfolds in His own time, and that's where your faith must be anchored. While you may be eager to push through every door, remember that His timing is perfect. The waiting period is often when you grow the most, preparing you for what He has in store. It's important to remain open to new possibilities. Just because one door has closed doesn't mean all hope is lost. Often closed doors lead to opportunities that are even more aligned with your purpose. Stay receptive to the paths God is opening for you and be ready to step through when the time is right. God's plans are always for your benefit, even when it feels like you're being pushed away from what you thought you wanted. Remember that God is leading you towards something better. Your journey is uniquely designed, and every closed door is a step closer to the blessings He has prepared for you. Trust in His plan, knowing that it's always good. Victory is already written in His plan. It's not a question of if you will succeed, but rather when God has already mapped out the path for your life, and that path leads to triumph. You may face obstacles and challenges along the way, but those are merely stepping stones on your journey toward the victory that has been promised to you. You don't have to wonder if you'll make it. Many people live in a state of uncertainty, constantly questioning their potential and abilities. But when you align your heart with God's purpose, you can walk confidently knowing that His promises are true. Your journey may not always be easy, but the destination is guaranteed. The victory is already yours because it's part of God's design for your life. Each of us has a unique purpose intricately woven into the fabric of God's plan. This victory isn't just a moment of success. It's a reflection of His glory working through you. Your achievements are not merely personal triumphs, but testimonies of God's faithfulness and power. All you need to do is keep going. The road may be long and filled with challenges, but perseverance is key. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't go as planned. But remember that every setback is a setup for a comeback. Your continued efforts are a testament to your faith and commitment to God's purpose. In the midst of difficulties, hold on to the promise of victory. Your battles may seem overwhelming, but they are not without purpose. Each challenge strengthens your character, deepens your faith, and prepares you for the victory that lies ahead. Embrace these moments, knowing they are part of a greater plan. Your mindset matters on this journey. It's vital to cultivate a mindset of victory. Speak words of affirmation over yourself, declaring the truth of God's promises. The more you focus on His faithfulness, the more you'll see evidence of His work in your life. Your thoughts shape your reality, so fill your mind with hope and positivity. Victory often requires action. While God has laid out the path for you, you must take steps forward. Don't wait for everything to fall into place before you begin. Take that first step, trusting that God will guide your way. Each small action leads you closer to the victory that has already been promised. Surround yourself with encouragement. The journey can be lonely, but it doesn't have to be. Seek out people who lift you up and support your goals. Their encouragement can ignite your passion and strengthen your resolve. Together, you can celebrate victories and navigate challenges as a united front. Remember that God is always with you. You are never alone on this journey. He walks beside you, guiding your steps and cheering you on. Trust in His presence and lean on His strength. When you feel weak, He will uplift you and remind you of the victory that awaits. Your victory is a testament to God's glory. Every success you experienced reflects His goodness and grace. When you achieve what He has destined for you, don't forget to give Him the credit. Share your story, inspiring others to trust in God's plan for their lives, knowing that victory is within reach for everyone who believes. As we conclude this journey through the promise of victory, remember that God's plan for your life is rich with purpose and potential. The victory has already been written, and it is yours for the taking. Every challenge you face is a step toward that destiny, and every setback is simply a setup for a greater comeback. Trust in His design, for He knows the plans He has for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. Hold on to your faith and keep moving forward with the confidence that you are not alone. God walks beside you, guiding your every step, reminding you that you have what it takes to overcome any obstacle. Embrace the journey, for it is filled with lessons and growth that will prepare you for the victories ahead. So as you leave this place today, carry this truth in your heart. You are destined for greatness. Don't let fear or doubt hold you back. Stand firm in your belief that victory is yours, and let that belief fuel your passion and perseverance. Now go forth, knowing that the world is waiting for you to fulfill your purpose. Rise up and take hold of the life God has designed for you. Your victory is not just a possibility, it is an assurance. Keep going and watch how God will manifest His promises in your life. Thank you